Ben Willis, a listless art student, spends his college days with his dear friend Suzy until one day he makes the mistake of breaking up with her. Ben describes the breakup as devastating as a car accident. Time seemed to slow down for him as Suzy exploded after learning that he wanted to end his relationship with her. Suzy quickly found solace in a guy named Steve in the aftermath of their breakup, much to Ben's dismay. Ben spots Suzy and her new boyfriend as he makes his way to a lone table in the cafeteria for lunch. His friend Sharon eventually joins him and inquires about his breakup with Suzy. Ben explains that Suzy was always looking for something better to move on to, whether it was a better party or a better boyfriend. Ben chose to end things with her because he didn't think he could make her happy. Sharon responds by suggesting that Ben date a beautiful girl, possibly a model. He reasoned that if Ben were dating a gorgeous model, Suzy would become competitive and try to win Ben back. Ben takes this advice with a grain of salt, recalling the numerous occasions when Sharon was dismissed by a woman. Ben later attends one of his art classes. One of them depicts him drawing a portrait of a naked man modeling in front of the class. While starting his sketch, he notices a beautiful girl across the room. Ben is captivated by her, and he soon finds himself drawing the outline of her jaw, the curve of her lips, and her big blue and beautiful eyes. His enchantment is shattered by his art teacher, who advises him to concentrate on the naked model in front of him because it would be impolite not to sketch the voluntarily naked man in front of them. Ben doesn't seem to be handling the breakup well over the next few days. He loses sleep over it, and now he has a whole 24 hours to think about his failed relationship with Suzy. To make matters worse, Ben is haunted by several echoes of lovemaking that permeated his room through the college dorm walls, pushing him further into the harsh reality that he is now all alone. Ben, overcome with regret, finally calls Suzy. Despite his attempts to reconcile with her, Suzy responds emphatically that their relationships have already run their course. Ben spirals deeper into despair as a result of this. For the next few nights, Ben tries to keep himself busy during his free time, both during the day and at night when he suffers from insomnia. Ben stumbles upon a local supermarket during one of his nighttime misadventures. Ben notices a flyer in the supermarket indicating that the store is looking for someone to work the night shift. Finally, Ben has discovered the ideal way to keep himself occupied at night. It doesn't take long for Ben to land an interview with the manager, and before long, he'll be an official employee of Sainsbury's. As his boss, Jenkins, was about to shake his hand, all Ben could think about was how his life was about to change. Ben has been staring at a spilled bag of peas for a long time during his night shift. Jenkins approaches and chastises him for staring at the peas and doing nothing. This jolts Ben out of his trance, but he's distracted by a beautiful woman reaching for something while her shorts are lifted to reveal her undergarments. Ben reflects on how much he enjoys painting the female form at this point. According to him, the female body possesses some kind of hidden power, which most women are unaware of. Jenkins slaps Ben on the head at this point, prompting him to finish cleaning up the bag of peas. As Ben adjusts to his new job, he observes how each of his co-workers approaches the art of parsing the time. Sharon Pindy, the cashier lady, exemplifies the most fundamental aspect of time parsing by avoiding and never looking at the clock. Then there's Barry Brickman, who takes a different approach to the problem. Bricks had mastered the art of doing anything other than work. Matt Stevens, his friend, is also involved in his foolish misdeed. One of their running gags is to put a recreational adult toy in women's shopping baskets. Barry and Matt would watch each woman at the checkout counter to see if she would buy the adult toy. It would bring a smile to their faces if some of them did buy it. Jenkins, their boss, is the only one who does not practice the art of time parsing. Jenkins didn't need to pass the time because he enjoys pandering to his egotistical sense of self by endlessly telling bored employees about his life. Ben has the most unusual way of passing the time among the night shift employees. Ben disassociates himself from time and reality while suffering from deep melancholy. He imagines time to be still and motionless. He pauses everything around him, allowing him to do whatever he wants. Ben is thinking about his appreciation for the female body at this point. Ben's family had taken in a guest, a foreign exchange student from Sweden, when he was very young. Because of the liberated sensibilities of Swedish culture, the woman did not feel the need to dress while walking from the shower to her room. It was only partially perverse for Ben. He had mostly looked at the woman's body with a deep and genuine admiration for her beauty. This event, according to Ben, influenced him to become a painter. During Ben's frozen time, he would frequently disrobe the beautiful women in the supermarket and sketch their bodies one by one, completely focused on their bare beauty. When Ben was ready, all he had to do was crack his fingers, and time would resume its normal course. Ben is visited in his dorm by his friend Sharon in the morning. Ben tells a story about when he and Sharon were 5 years old. Sharon's mother went shopping one afternoon, leaving the two boys alone. Sharon proposed to Ben that he show him some filthy magazines that his parents had hidden in a drawer. Ben was taken aback by the women's shameless nakedness and didn't quite understand it. Suddenly, Sharon's mother entered the room, and Sharon rushed to put the magazines back in the drawer. The two boys approached Sharon's mother, and both of them were unknowingly hard. As a result, Sharon's mother assumed that the two of them were gay. Sharon gives Ben another piece of advice that morning in the dorm. Sharon advises him to find a few Natalies. Natalie is a woman Sharon would have a one-night stand with. The term came from an incident when they were young. Sharon had deduced that the women in the dirty magazines were mostly stripped naked because they were paid a lot of money. With this newfound knowledge, Sharon presented a wad of cash to Natalie. In exchange, Natalie would show Sharon her private parts. Natalie quickly became popular among the young boys in their neighborhood, and they all lined up with money in their hands. Ben runs into Sharon in the locker room during another night shift. Sharon, the adorable and charming girl, takes a bite out of Ben's sandwich. Ben tries awkwardly to tell Sharon to wipe a piece of pickle off her cheek, but she keeps missing it. Ben wipes the food from her face meekly, and they share a smile before Sharon leaves the room. Ben wishes he could freeze time and live in that moment for a week, but he can only slow it down. Ben learns later that Matt had asked Sharon out on a date, which disappoints him. Ben then observes how strange it is that the word crush can be used to describe both a warm attraction and a crushing disappointment. Ben then recounts his crushes throughout his life. Tanya Green, a girl, was his main crush. Tanya had been in an accident in elementary school that resulted in a cast on her left arm. Ben observes that what captivated him the most about Tanya was her flawless handling of the cast. Tanya was bullied by her classmates the day her cast was removed because the hairs on her arm had grown out of control. When she was crying, Ben approached her and comforted her. Tanya became Ben's girlfriend as a result of this. Ben and Tanya were on the verge of their first kiss one afternoon when Ben decided to postpone it until later. Ben would live to regret this decision for the rest of his life, as Tanya and her parents had moved to America the next day. After an embarrassing defeat of 260, Ben's boss, Jenkins, recruits the staff for a weekend football game, when a ball hits Jenkins square in the face as Matt tries to pass the ball to him. Matt rushes a bleeding Jenkins to the hospital, and the other teammates depart, leaving Ben and Sharon alone. Ben and Sharon visit a nearby diner, where they get to know each other better. Ben discovers there that Matt did not sleep with Sharon. She then tells Ben about her dreams, and Ben does the same. Sharon says she's always wanted to meet a painter because she imagines they could see the beauty in everything, which she finds romantic. That night, the two develop feelings for one another. Ben walks Sharon home and ruins their first kiss by kissing her on the cheek instead. Jenkins announces the following day that he will be having a birthday party soon and invites everyone. Sharon invites Ben to the party as her date, and an ecstatic Ben accepts. Jenkins later assigns Ben the task of hiring a surprise stripper for his birthday party. For this, he enlists Sean's assistance in exchange for Ben driving him to the party. Sean takes Ben to a strip club and then recruits a stripper. Ben couldn't stop thinking about Sharon the entire time he was there. Sharon is in the corner, shrouded in darkness, lit only by a glowing pole, he imagines. Sharon is dressed provocatively in black as she dances around the pole, staring into Ben's eyes, and Ben is completely enthralled. Sharon calls Ben the night before the party to see if he still wants to go. Sharon kisses Ben after he says yes. The gravity and significance of that kiss could only be fully appreciated by stating that it was the only thing that finally put Ben to sleep. After being awake for 4 weeks, Ben falls asleep that evening and sleeps until the next afternoon. Ben is then awakened by a phone call from a man who wants to exhibit his art in a gallery. Unfortunately, it's just Matt and Brick pulling one of their pranks. Ben claims that he no longer thinks about Suzy much, and that he has stopped thinking about the beautiful women at work. Sharon is all he can think about. He draws Sharon over and over in the world of frozen time, completely enamored by her beauty. It's the night before the party, and everyone is getting ready. Ben picks Sharon up from her apartment and tells her about the offer he received from the gallery. Shannon is pleased for him, and the two go to the party. When Ben and Sharon arrived, the party was already in full swing. Shun is being rejected by another girl. Matt and Brick are dancing inexcusably, and Jenkins is at the DJ station. Ben is taken aback to see Suzy at the party, and he learns that her boyfriend Steve is Jenkins' brother. Ben and Sharon continue to enjoy the party after an awkward encounter with Suzy. Finally, the surprise stripper appears. She performs a lap dance in the middle of the room, directly in front of Jenkins. The stripper approaches Sean after the dance. He recognizes her, and it turns out that the stripper is Natalie from Sean's childhood. They greet each other and hit it off almost immediately. Suzy approaches Ben as he waits in line for the upstairs bathroom. Meanwhile, Sharon is waiting downstairs with Jenkins, who is making another move on her. Brick, on the other hand, is planning a stunt in which he will ride a box down a flight of stairs. Everyone congregates around the stairwell to watch Brick. Suzy kisses Ben in an attempt to reconcile with him at this point. Sharon had looked over the upper floor at this point because Brick was about to slide down the stairs. Sharon becomes enraged after witnessing Ben and Suzy's kiss. Ben shoves Suzy aside and rushes over to Sharon, who is about to leave for the door. Ben freezes time once more, realizing that no matter how long he remains frozen, he cannot undo what has occurred. Ben remains by Sharon's side for 2 days before releasing her. Ben rushes to Sharon's apartment and tries to explain everything, but Sharon is too consumed by her rage. Ben leaves her apartment, and he falls back into his insomnia for the next few days. Furthermore, Ben does not see Sharon at work. Ben goes to the art gallery that Matt and Brick pretended to call from one day. When the art gallery owner denies having an appointment with him, he realizes he has been played. However, before Ben departs, the owner notices his sketches of Sharon in his hands. The owner becomes interested, and Ben is soon offered a night to exhibit his work in the gallery. Sharon one day receives an official invitation to Ben's art show titled A Frozen Second. Despite her initial resentment of Ben, she decides to go to the gallery. When she arrives that evening, she is surprised to see that every piece of artwork is about her, with hundreds of different paintings all depicting her. Sharon catches Ben's attention as she stands in awe, and they lock eyes. Ben tries to explain what happened at the party again, but Sharon tells him he doesn't need to. The art exhibit says more than words ever could. Ben then kisses Sharon, and time comes to a halt. But this time both Ben and Sharon can move in the frozen world. Ben takes Sharon out in the snow, where 1,000 snowflakes float in the air. In the world of frozen time, the lovers kiss once more. Ben considers how love is always present if you look for it, and how, every now and then, you must pause for a moment or you will miss it.